Welcome to Driving the Lane with Randy Kraayenbrink and Chuck Rowe. Now, Driving the Lane.
Welcome to Driving the Lane. Randy Kraayenbrink, Chuck Rowe, the show where we talk about mostly one thing and one thing only, and that is
Panther basketball.
Now, it's important that we remind you that even though we are the official UNI basketball show for the Panther Collective, our comments may not reflect the feelings of our friends at UNI. However, Randy is a former player, and I have this nifty shirt that features the UNI team. Actually, we have two of them, one for each of our boys. You can own one too. Randy, do you have one?
I do not have one of those, but I have seen those in Nick's office. They look sharp.
Oh, they are beautiful. All you need to do is go to the Panther Collective website and you can get your own as well. So
yes, that's awesome.
There you go. In fact, they should have one that just features you.
Well, yeah, probably not, but they could do it. They could do it on the inside of the t-shirt.
So anyways, as always, we have a great show for everyone this week. Tytan Anderson is going to be joining us. We also have the Panther Collective questions of the week. And of course, the Financial Architect's quote of the week. Let's get started. Randy, excited to have with us today. Drum roll, please. Tytan Anderson, thanks for joining today.
Yep, no problem.
So super glad that you're able to be with us today. Let me do this. Let me set the stage. It's 2020. Waterloo West is up by 2 points, scores 40-38 with 0.6 seconds left. North Scott gets a Hail Mary pass over to maybe somebody that could be on the show right now. Let's watch this. When you see that clip, I mean, this is the game that brought you into the state tournament, correct?
Yeah.
So what thoughts go through your mind when you see that video?
I mean, that was just a great moment in my life. I mean, all my friends and family were there, and it was just it was a really good game.
Now, be honest, you're about to, I mean, 0.6 seconds left. I mean, you don't have much time to think. Did you even have that shot set up knowing it could go in, or was it just, did you just toss it up there and pray to God?
I mean, the play wasn't for me, but it was like a secondary option. But I mean, I knew that if I got it, it was going in. That was the mindset.
It's unfortunate that it happened to a Cedar Valley team. Do you ever go to Waterloo West and say hi to anyone or any of the players down there or anything like that?
No, I don't think I'm welcome there for a couple more years.
What's it like playing with one team for so many years? I mean, you're talking about middle school, junior high, high school, et cetera. And then all of a sudden having this brand new team at UNI when you first get here. What's that experience like when you go through that transition?
The good thing about UNI is I know most of the guys. I've either played against them or grown up playing somewhat with them. So a lot of the guys are from Iowa. So we find ourselves playing a lot of basketball. And Bowen, of course, was on my team. Trey Campbell grew up and he was in the program, the Barnstormers program. So there's just a lot of guys that have played high quality basketball and that you see over the weekends.
Yeah, that is an interesting point, because back in the day, right, back in the 80s, when I played, we didn't travel. I mean, we didn't leave basically Northwest Iowa more than 30 to 50 miles away from our home, like in summer leagues or whatever there was. And I think that's the part which is kind of cool. Like you just said, you get the opportunity to play with potential teammates, maybe from your freshman year or sophomore year on. And then my question is, with that, when it came time to choose Northern Iowa, did you choose Northern Iowa because some of your friends went there, or what? How did that transition happen for you? Not only maybe some potential teammates with coaches, all that fun stuff.
Just the family aspect of it. I'm a big family guy, and I wanted my family to be able to travel and make it to most of my games. So The coaching staff was just like family. The team was just like family, and a lot of guys kind of brought me in. So it was a good all around experience.
Now, of course, coming here, it sounds like it was because you knew a lot of people. You want to have family close by to be able to watch you. But let me change up that question just slightly. And that is the transfer portal is just a norm these days. And every year is going to be a wonder of who's going in, who's going out. UNI was one of those few schools where nobody left. So what is it that keeps you here at UNI? And the second part of that is what changes with NIL and the transfer portal now, where players maybe, it's tempting to be maybe a little greedy with your play, and knowing that maybe the more points you score, the more attention you get, maybe the more money you can find or the better school you can go to.
Yeah, there's a love-hate relationship with the transfer portal. As you know, there's a lot of different views on it. But I mean, I think as far as playing goes and why we stay, it's a matter of we love this team. We love being a part of what's going on, the culture of it, and we look forward to keep on building it.
Now, when you chose to stay here, and really any of the players, do you talk to each other about that? Are you texting each other about, hey, I just decided to stay, or does everyone just kind of quietly do their thing and everyone just kind of minds their own business during that period?
It's a little bit of both. There's not really, you don't want to be too pushy and get up what other people are thinking, but it usually turns out to be good and they stay. So yeah.
Okay. Well, the important question is, how much of a factor did Randy and I play in you deciding to come back this year?
Big factor.
Yeah, probably like 90%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw a number out there, but since you agreed with it, yeah. So
I mean, just the opportunity maybe to be on our show, a couple more times, your season would be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we briefly touched a little bit on Atlantis, but that had to be a pretty cool trip again for you guys. The competition obviously was top notch, and the cool thing is, we got to watch those games. You did not bow down to anyone. I mean, you respect the teams, but you guys played some great basketball down there. Let's talk a little bit about how that went. How about North Carolina?
Yeah, we came out ready to play, and I feel as though we played a great first half and just not a great second half. But that's kind of just how it goes. But throughout the whole week, we kind of got better and better, and we learned from those mistakes. And our goal was to play a full 40 minutes. And I feel as though by the end of it, we played a full 40 minutes.
Well, everyone wants to be an armchair quarterback, and I don't know really what the basketball terminology that would be similar to that would be. But after that North Carolina game, a lot of people had ideas on maybe what happened in that second half. The only people that really know, though, are those who played and those who coached. So after the game, or even during that second half, from your perspective, what was different in that second half compared to the first half that just didn't quite work out?
They just got hot. They came out of half. They obviously were pretty mad that they were down and that they were losing. And they're a great team, so they came out ready to play. And they shot it. I think it was 9 of 13 from 3 second half. So they came out firing.
I was going to say they have like 2 or 3 guys that are all 6'10" or so. You still managed to get 10 rebounds. Tell us the secret.
There was no secret. It was just we had to get them off the boards. We had to do our job, and us bigs and us guards, everybody was just playing physical and moving them out. So it really didn't matter how big they were. We took care of the rebounds for sure.
I think one thing that people don't realize is with your height, with your weight, right? Every night you're probably going to play someone who is taller than you and probably weighs more than you. So the body takes quite a beating, especially the North Carolina game when you're boxing out 6'10", 6'11" guys, probably 50 pounds heavier than you. Talk about kind of your bruises and what happens in those type of games that we as fans don't realize watching on TV or even in person.
I mean, those games, it kind of just takes a lot more out of you. So you just have to give a lot more effort, and you got to have a lot of energy and just keep on moving and outsmart those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to like the shoulders and stuff, it's just a lot of hitting, clashing together, shoulder to shoulder. So I mean, we've been working on it. We've been in with Brandon, our strength coach. So I mean, that was a big step this year, was just to keep on getting stronger, and that's always the goal.
All right. Because the other thing is, it happened 3 days in a row, 3 days in a row. It's not like you had a day off to sit in an ice bath.
Yeah, no, I had a couple shoulder injuries, couple sore shoulders and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely physical.
Your post game routine as far as getting on the mend. I mean, do they throw you in a bath somewhere? Do you get some massages? Like, what do you do post game usually?
We usually have Bish just give us ice, tend to wherever we're feeling sore, and then we have these fireflies. There's some recovery for the legs and stuff like that. So those have been good.
And
Okay.
then do you do that on the beach or just by the poolside?
No, we didn't get much beach time in between.
Okay.
Yeah, we were locked in.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Now, obviously, North Carolina was a tough one, but then Texas Tech, even though it didn't come out a win, but it was just a much tighter game. And then all of a sudden, Stanford, I mean, another great team that you get the win. What happened to each of those games that maybe coach had you work on that got you just better and better and on track more?
Well, obviously we didn't have any practices in between, so I mean, it couldn't have been that. But we looked at the film, we looked at the things that we didn't do very well in the second half of either of those games, really, and we fixed those, and we came out willing to do better, willing to change, and it showed that last game where we played all 40 minutes.
Well, Randy and I will kind of sit here and say, hey, you guys really took a stand. You did a great job, regardless of what the record is. But when you're a player and you're on the team, is there such thing as a moral victory? What was that mood like on the way back home?
I mean, it was good to finish the weekend out strong. We weren't really too concerned about our record. We don't really look at that because we know that we could be undefeated if we played an easier schedule, if we played against teams that we know that we could win for sure. So I mean, we're just looking forward to the next couple of games.
And that's one thing Coach Jake has always said, that the Panthers will play anybody anywhere. And it shows with the schedule that he has every year when we go on the road, especially the preseason type thing that we do. It is very true. And that's got to be pretty cool for you as a Panther to say, hey, we have the opportunity, right, to beat some of the best teams in the country. Versus we get to play some of the other teams in the country like we know we can beat. What did we really learn from that? So I think, like you said earlier, I mean, the big takeaway is we are pretty good, and we just have to improve a couple things, like you said. But certain things when North Carolina goes on a tear from the 3-point line, that's tough to control as well. So, but congrats on the weekend. That was awesome. It was great basketball to watch.
Thank you.
Well, in saying that, you have a few conference games coming up, and right now, you have Belmont, who is one of the better teams in the conference last year. How does it feel knowing that you're going up against a few teams now that you're a little more familiar with?
I mean, it really doesn't change. I mean, every game we want to go out there and we want to play our best basketball. We want to keep getting better because, I mean, as hard as it's been right now, we know that it's going to keep on getting easier with how much work we're putting in. So we're just looking forward to it.
Well, 2 years ago, you guys had a really strong year. Last year, dipped down a little bit. I think we were supposed to maybe finish a little higher, and then between some injuries and some gameplay that just didn't quite work out the way it did, we didn't have as good of a season as we hoped. But this year, it looks like we're going to be back on track. Everyone seems to be in the right places in the right time. So what sort of difference do you see happening now that you have a guy like Nate Heisey back?
I mean, you see it. I mean, he's a great player, and he's been great for us so far, and he's going to continue to be great and keep getting better. So I mean, it's great having him back on both sides of the basketball, and he really completes our team. And the addition of Jacob as well, that's been great for us.
Last year, because of some transfers and then Fife was out a little bit, you were expected to play the 5 for a lot of minutes. This year, like you bring up Jacob, what excites you most about having a guy like Jacob on the team?
I mean, he's just a dominant presence when it comes to the inside. I mean, he's a great passer as well, so he's working our offense pretty well. And it's just a lot of fun when you have two dynamic players in the post and can do a little bit of everything. It really makes it a tough cover.
Titan only has half the bruises this year so far than he did last year, is basically what he's telling us.
And he doesn't need to do every single jump ball every single game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So, well, let me throw some other players out to you. Maybe you can do a quick description on what impact you see them making this year. What about Bowen?
Oh yeah, he's gonna be what Bowen's done the last couple of years. He's gonna be that scorer, that playmaker, and that leader. And that's something that we really love out of Bo. So it's been good.
And how have you seen Trey grow?
Oh yeah, I mean that kid's been hooping. He's been playing really good basketball, and I look forward to seeing him keep on growing.
Landon Wolf, how have you seen him grow up to this year?
I mean, he keeps getting better. He's working on his handle. That's been showing. He's coming off more screens, mid range, and his 3-point shot's still up there with the best. So I mean, he's still one of our better shooters. So
how about Mr. Duax?
Oh yeah, that kid can play. He works hard, and he's always flying around and giving up his body and playing great defense and making cuts and reads. So I mean, yeah, he's going to be doing great as well.
And most important, for the star of the show today, what did Tytan Anderson work on this offseason that we should see improvements on this year?
Just playing more outside. Now that we have Jacob, that was a kind of a working point for me this offseason, was just playing more outside, driving both ways, left and right, and then free throws as well.
If there is one statistic that you want to boost this year, more than anything, what would it be?
Just shooting more threes, getting those up. Now that I'm playing more outside and playing inside and out, it makes it tough when I can do both. So just keep on working on that.
Well, you're talking to the #1 volume shooter in UNI history. What are the secrets, Randy?
Every time you touch the ball, the hoop is always open. That's what I mean. It's right behind me, right here. Opportunity. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So just shoot the ball. Right? Volume's the key.
So the first 38 points per game scorer in UNI history, Tytan Anderson.
Tytan Anderson, exactly.
There you go. Randy, it's time for the Panther Collective Questions of the Week, where we ask questions directly from the fans. So, Tytan, they mix up the men's and women's rosters for a 2-on-2 UNI tournament. Which women player do you pick and why?
For a 2-on-2, I gotta go with Grace. I mean, that's my best friend from back home. So I mean, I gotta go with Jibo. She's a presence down low too.
Double machine down there. And what's the game plan? How are you going to win?
I mean, we're gonna go inside. We're gonna keep on laying it up. I mean, we're just gonna get to the get to layups.
What's a little known talent or two that you have that nobody knows about that you have? Like, are you a top-notch harmonica player? Are you a great ballroom dancer? What is it something that you do?
No, I'm more just good at video games. That's something that I'm pretty good at, but other than that, I don't really have talents or outside of that besides other sports.
Favorite spinoff, favorite video game?
It's got to be probably 2K.
What team do you pick and who's your favorite player on there?
Wow. Now, I mean, there's all these great teams, but I usually play with the Pelicans. That's my favorite team. So I like watching them play.
The Pelicans?
Yeah.
You're like the one guy in the country. Okay.
I know.
Gosh, I'm afraid to ask this, but who's your favorite player on the Pelicans?
Brandon Ingram.
Okay. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. Somebody that actually plays every season. So that's awesome. Okay. So when you develop a player that, because most people, Randy, I don't know if you play 2K at all, but most people, when they develop a player, they like to pick somebody that maybe could be a little bit different than them because they play like themselves all the time. So they kind of imagine, I wish I could be this player. So create a player. Who do you kind of pattern your game after? How tall do you put yourself? What position do you play?
I usually rock a center, 6'8". Nothing too crazy, but I mean, people are always looking for a center to play with, so that's why I do it. I don't enjoy the shooting all the threes and doing all that. I just like winning.
So this is going to be a tough question for you because you guys get along so well on the team. But who's a player on the team that you just pal around with the most, and what makes that person so fun to hang out with?
I would say probably I hang out with Trey the most, just because I mean we grew up together. We're always traveling for basketball together. So I mean,
so a spin-off of that, Titan. So when you came in as a freshman, who kind of took you under their wing and said, "Hey, Titan, this is how things happen here." Kind of said, "You don't say that to coach. You can say this to coach." Who kind of mentored you?
It was probably Taiwan and Trey Burhow. They probably did it the most.
Do you still keep in touch with those guys at all?
Oh yeah, yep. Those are some of my best friends.
Okay, you need to talk them into coming back to a UNI game to watch you play.
Yeah, Taiwan's been to a couple.
So what's the last thing you want to leave with Panther fans today?
I mean, we're just excited for this, for the rest of the season. You guys saw what we're capable of throughout this last weekend, and we're just looking forward to the next opportunity we get to show you guys and have you guys rally around us.
Very cool. Very cool. Titan, thanks for joining us once again. Just a great interview, Chuck. I tell you what, Coach Jake keeps bringing in quality people, and Titan's just another example of that. Titan, we appreciate everything you do for the program. We also appreciate everything you do for the community. So thank you, and good luck, and play hard.
Yep, thank you guys for having me on the podcast.
The Financial Architect's quote of the week: what you listen to and who you listen to is what you become.
You know what's interesting, Randy, is that when you hear a quote like that, you're always told that whenever you hear like a speech or a sermon or maybe something you heard in a class or whatever, it's not easy to remember those things, but it's easy to remember who told you those things or who mentored you. So my question to you is, who are some of your top 3 mentors in life?
Wow, that's a great question. So my top mentor is probably my oldest brother, Dave. I just remember him like instructing me on sports, on life. If I had an issue going on, maybe my jump shot wasn't going in or whatever, I'd call my brother Dave, and he was more of a mental coach than a physical coach. But my brother Dave was a good one. We had a small group that we were in when we were, in church. We had a small group while we were raising our kids, and that entire small group, if they listen to this, they'll know who they are. But those were there was like 4 or 5 other people in there. And then a good friend of mine who did pass away at a very young age of a brain tumor, Darwin Bolts. I'll mention Darwin. He's was a Waterloo firefighter, just a great friend of mine. And so he'd be the other one I think that would be a key person for me in my life as well. So yeah, that's very true though, Chuck, to bring that up. You do remember who told you it, and then it kind of, you may not remember the entire quote, but you do remember, who taught you some good things and mentored you. That's a great point, Chuck.
Well, I think the quote that you had for the day kind of relates well to that. And it sounds like you've had some great people in your life, Randy. So as always, that quote is good for you, good for me, and definitely good for everybody. Now it's time to say goodbye from Chuck and Randy. See you next week. Enter the closing music.